Hello and welcome to another episode of NRG This Week. I'm Leon Thomas. I'll be joined by NRG President and CEO Mike Weiner, and today we'll have some special guests joining us right here for NRG This Week. Here we go. You're here for NRG This Week. I'm Leon Thomas, the co-host of NRG This Week. I'm joined by Network Referral Group President and CEO Mike Weiner. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing great, Leon. How are you?
Everything is groovy. Let's take about 15 seconds only. It's baseball season. How the O's going to do? You got to give me a 5-second answer. Let's go.
They are going to win today because Mike Weiner is going the opening day
Well, there
at
you have
Camden
it.
Yards, and I'm going to bring home the first victory of the year.
All right, right on. Let's go. Let's go, O's. Mike,
Go O's.
for Network Referral Group and weekly meetings, one of the things we talk about, and we've talked about it a lot here on the show, is the idea of attending a weekly meeting, but we haven't given those that haven't been to an NRG meeting an example of what it's like. And today, we're going to do that, right?
We are absolutely going to take you behind the curtain and show you what happens at NRG.
All right, right. So, Mike, we have some special guests with us today. We'll bring them on the screen, and you go ahead and introduce them. I'll ask a couple of questions, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the sample NRG meeting. So let's go ahead and bring our special guest on the screen today. Mike, you go ahead and introduce our guests, and we'll have a little conversation with them, and then we'll go ahead and get started in the NRG meeting. Go ahead, Mike.
Absolutely. I'm really, really excited. Two of my favorite people from New York. We got Z, who is affectionately called Dr. Z. He is in the New York group and also San Francisco. And my telecom buddy, Paul Pompey, my Italian brother from another mother, is here. We are going to have some fun today, baby. Two of my faves.
Right on, right on. Now, Mr. Z and Paul, I met Mike 25 or so years ago at a stand-up physical in-person networking meeting. Let's start with Mr. Z. How did you get in touch with NRG and how'd you meet Mike?
Great question, Leon. I was introduced to NRG and Mike by their world-class executive virtual assistant, Julie Lishman. She talked about how great NRG was, and she told me that she would. This is a group that gives 3 referrals on the spot, and I had to try this group out. And what impressed me more than the 3 referrals on the spot is Mike's personality and professionalism, because he always believes in giving, such as you can always get what you want out of life if you just help enough other people get what they want out of life. And that's how I met Mike.
All right,
Thanks, Julie.
great. And Paul, go ahead and tell us how you got in touch with NRG and how'd you meet Mike. Go ahead.
Well, I was in another networking group, and Cheryl Miller, who was we had hit it off, and we had a one-on-one through that networking group, and she was just so genuinely excited about it that it was contagious. And typically, I would have just said, "Nah, I'm not interested," but she was just so turned on about it that I couldn't help but wanting to check it out. And then when I checked it out, and I saw how it was like dynamic. I mean, the partnerships and the leads just happened the first time that I went on the meeting, and it was just so much energy there that it definitely wasn't this slow pace. I think the number of connections I made in one meeting it would have probably took me a year to make those kind of connections in any other groups. So I like that. I'm from New York. I do a New York Minute, and I like when things are fast and dynamic, and just really enjoyed it. And it's been great. It's been since December that I've been part of it, and got a ton of leads and ton of partnerships out of it.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you. So, Mike, Paul, and Mr. Z, here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep you on the screen. I'm going to step away. You're going to stay on the screen. Mike, you go ahead and lead a demonstration of what happens during an NRG meeting. I'm going to step away. You guys will stay on the screen all the time. Go ahead and show us an NRG meeting.
Absolutely. So here we are. We're in New York City. It's Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Dr. Z is already a member. Paul, you are new to the event. So normally what I do, and I'm going to go through it really quick. I'm going to welcome Dr. Z. I'm going to welcome everybody there. Paul, as a new member, welcome to NRG. We have been around. I usually do a 2-minute overview. I'm going to go real quick. We've been around 23 years, pivoted to Zoom when the COVID came out, and we've gone from 3 to 30 states. You'll get 3 referrals on the spot today through Pinball, Power Partners Industries, named accounts. Once you decide to join, you've got access to the whole network around the country. I run 30 Zooms a week. We have 410 members, Paul, and we do quarterly extravaganzas. We have a mastermind, Michelle Wilson does, and we've got a lot of things going on. So what we'll normally do, we would go to all the members. Z would do a quick testimonial, and then Z, we would go to you for pinball. And I would say, Z, who are you looking for as far as Power Partners, Industries, and named accounts? And you would say, basically, go ahead and give your reply.
Absolutely. I would give my reply as nonprofits, family business owners, or individuals that are looking to redevelop their websites, but primarily nonprofits.
All right, and then so what I would do, Z, I'd go through my mental Rolodex. I'd pull out my cell phone. You guys have seen rapid fire. And I would say, Z, have you ever talked to ABC nonprofit in Long Island, New York? And you would say,
Absolutely, Mike. We just set up our one-to-one session just because I mentioned your name.
awesome, awesome. Well, I have another lead for you. It's a nonprofit. It's WFP. They are in Manhattan. The owner there is Joe Steinfeld, and his phone number is 561, and I'd give you the rest of the number. And then I would encourage you to call him with the script of, hey, this is Dr. Z. You were referred highly by Mike Weiner. I'd love to jump on a Zoom to explore how we could help each other out. You'd make that call. We'd go around the room, and everybody would hit you with some leads. And then, we'd give you about 3 names, and we would say, Z, Dr. Z, are you good?
I sure am, Mike. Thank you very much for the warm lead, and I'm looking forward to speaking with your referral.
Awesome. And then we would go to Paul, and Paul would be our prospect for the day, coming in through Cheryl Miller, who, by the way, was the first member to join New York. She actually she invested the 500 with me 4 weeks before we had a group. I called her up. She came as a referral through Forrest. She's like, I'm in. I know you want Legal Shield. So, Paul, I hear you're here by Cheryl Miller today. I'd probably have Cheryl and Dr. Z to a testimonial. I'd say, Paul, do you feel comfortable with the pinball at this point, or do you need me to do a deeper dive? And you would say,
I'm comfortable.
You're always comfortable, man. Rapid fire from Maryland, New York. So, Paul, what I would recommend with it being your first meeting, why don't you give us 3 to 4 power partners, 5 industries that you do business with, and then go ahead and do that. And then the New York team will give you 3 referrals. Once you join NRG, we open the floodgates. You can jump on any group you want nationwide as long as there's no overlap, and go from there. So, Paul, who will you be looking for, power partners and industries? Give us an idea, please.
Sure. Power partners would be IT MSPs, commercial real estate brokers, property manager groups. In addition to that, payroll services. And as far as industries, what I like is working through law firms, accounting firms, any businesses that have multiple locations and are looking to consolidate and collaborate on all of those on one platform for all of them. And that's essentially it.
So, and then I would say, Paul, I have a guy, Albert Whitefield. He is in Maryland, but he's nationwide. He's a commercial realtor. Have you ever talked with him before? It's JPW Commercial Real Estate.
No, I have never talked to him before. I'd love to chat with him.
So I would give you his name, I would give you his number, you'd reach out to him, and like you've always done, Paul, you would give me feedback on how that goes. Dr. Z would jump in, he'd give you a name. Cheryl Miller would jump in, she'd give you a name. And then I would say, okay, Paul, great. I tell you what, why don't you hang on with me? We'll answer questions, talk about next steps to get started, and then we would wrap it up from there. So, the NRG meeting for Leon and for all the folks out there watching, we do introductions, we do announcements, we do testimonials, and then we play pinball. And if you're looking at it, you've been in a group and you've had one lead in a year and a half, that's not acceptable. We do leads on the spot. Zig Ziglar said it best: you can get anything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. If I was trapped in an elevator and they said one word about energy, it's access. And we are growing virally right now. Dr. Z, Paul, they both have stepped up as two of my 35 expansion directors. And I'd wrap the meeting up, Leon, and then go from there. I'd keep Paul on. I'd answer his questions. I'd say, hey, you ready to rock and roll? And he'd say yes. And then we would go from there. So I want to thank Dr. Z and Paul for being here on our virtual pinball today to be seen by the world. And back to you in the studio, Leon, as they say.
All right, thank you, Mike. Now I have a question for Paul and Mr. Z. Paul, let's start with you, and it's the same question for both of you. I've attended NRG meetings, other networking groups. I've talked to people that say they are networkers, and I say to them, "What do you do? Give me the 30-second spiel on what you do." How do you take everything that your business is encompass and cut it down to 30 seconds? Paul, how do you do that? And Mr. Z will come to you next.
Not easy, but because of NRG, I've learned to do it quickly and concisely. At least to believe that I believe that's the way it's conveyed. But I mean, the way I do it is I'm a representative for First Light Cloud Exchange. I am a cloud technology consultant, and what that means is I can take a business and be able to help them communicate anytime, anywhere, on any device globally. So they're completely collaborative across the board with their internal employees and all of their customer base, and they can be anywhere, anytime, on any device and do business.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Z, how do you do that?
Absolutely, and I just want to coattail on what Paul said. I like how NRG trains us on how to do our elevator pitch within one ride, because as we know, the quickest way to go up is to take the elevator. So with that being said, my name is Z, or you can call me Dr. Z for fun. I am a web developer, and I am also a consultant that can help you, nonprofits, or family business owners develop a custom website the Z World is waiting for.
Mm-hmm. All right, I like it. I like it. And Mike, let's talk with you for a second about Paul and Mr. Z. You used the term expansion directors. Tell us more about that, please.
Yeah, Leon, I've been accused of working too hard for 23 years, guilty as charged. You said it to me as well. So we came up with what we started doing was having three-way text introductions, and Dr. Z started doing them, and Paul started doing them. And we just did a training a week ago, and they're basically helping me around the country. And Dr. Z, we're starting Manhattan 2 weeks. I think it's a week from this week on the 21st. So, Leon, the whole concept is Mike meet Joe, Joe meet Mike. Mike is the CEO of Network Referral Group. Joe's a landscape owner. Mike, can you tell Joe more about NRG and invite him to a meeting? So what I've done is the people that believe in me, Leon, the people that believe in NRG, the people that are absolutely 100% sold out because they're getting referrals weekly, they're developing long-term relationships, and you can see they're excited. I can't train people, Leon, on excitement. Dr. Z has it naturally. Paul, like I said, my Italian brother from another mother. These guys are great. Everybody has their own strength. And all I do is work with them, help them refine maybe the speech a little bit, the elevator speech. But we have 35, soon to be 100 expansion directors, Leon. We went to 400 members. Last week, we had a record week. 12 new members came in. We're going to have 100 coming in very soon. It's not because anyone's great. It's because we have a system. We're utilizing law of attraction, and the expansion directors and I are all on the same page.
All right. So I'd like to do this. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Z or Mr. Z. Thank you, Paul, for being here. And since you're here, I want you to tell our viewers how they can get in touch with you. So we'll start with Dr. Z. Paul will go to you. And then, Mike, you and I will come back on screen and talk about how folks can get in touch with you and become NRG members. Dr. Z, you're first. Tell folks how they can get in touch with you.
Thank you, Leon. You can get in touch with me or book an appointment by visiting www.zworldwebs.com.
All right, that's zworldwebs.com. Thank you. Paul, go ahead, please.
Yeah, sure. If anybody wants to contact me, they can contact me at paul@fcxnyc.com. And you also could call me at 212-810-4820, 212-810-4820. And I'd be glad to help and explain any questions.
All right. And Mike,
hey,
anyone?
Hey, Leon, I got a quick... Yeah. Leon, I have a quick question for you. There is a raging debate in this country about Dr. Z and I, and I'd like you to break the tie. He says I'm the nicest guy in the world. I say he is the most polite, distinguished, nicest guy in the world. You've known me 20 years. You've known Z. Maybe it's just a tie. I mean, Paul, you're in there too. You're top 5. But what do you think, Leon, after you've met these guys? I mean, Z, just his etiquette, he's a throwback to the old days of being polite. And I really wanted to give Paul and Dr. Z kudos for being unbelievable ambassadors of NRG. So what do you think, Leon? I'm putting you on
Mike,
the spot for a minute.
Yes, you did put me on the spot, but I am prepared. And I'll say this. Mike, I've known you for 25 years. I know how nice you are, how genuine you are. Paul, I met you about 2 minutes before Mr. Z. And when I met you, your first impression clearly indicated friendly, accommodating, really nice guy. Dr. Z, when I met you, again, I'm talking today, I met you, okay? I met you. You two were nice, a pleasing demeanor. So I'll put it this way. Based on my experiences with all three of you, you're all right there. It's a 3-way tie. Thank you for asking, though. I appreciate it. What a way to break the tie. All right. Paul, thank you for being here. Mr. Z, thank you for being here. And Mike.
Thank you, sir.
Tell everyone how they can get in touch with you and become a member of NRG. Go ahead, please.
Absolutely. You can go to the website, nrg.online. You can reach me, email mike@networkreferralgroup.com. You can call or text me at 443-756-9656. I do want to give a shout out to my young sons who are now in their 20s. They have just figured the CRM out. And very shortly, Leon, in about a week, we're going to have new members registering through the NRG.online website, and then it'll automatically kick out an invoice that they paid. And when their yearly membership comes up, the website will do that. So definitely want to give a shout out to my boys as well. But 443-756-9656.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Folks, again, I'm Leon Thomas. You just watched an episode of NRG with NRG President and CEO Mike Weiner. We did a sample NRG meeting. And I'd also like to thank our producer behind the scenes, Dr. J, for doing an outstanding job, as usual, the way he does with our shows here with the Leon Thomas Group. To learn more about us, go to theleonthomasgroup.com. You just watched NRG this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week for another episode. Here we go.